Good evening. Welcome to Economics 330, Global Trade and Political Economy, City University of New York, Medgar Evers College. Today is Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. And this is the last module for this class. And we will discuss in this week current and developing issues in global political economics. As you know, the three distinct theories in international political economy are the realist perspective, the liberal perspective, and the critical perspectives, and they have evolved and influenced each other over time. And some theoretical approaches, such as hegemonic stability theory and regime theory, draw upon more than one of these perspectives. So here's a quick refresher. The regime theory within international relations argues that international institutions or regimes affect the behavior of states or other international actors. Notably, a regime is a set of principles, norms, rules, and decision-making procedures in a given substantive area in international relations. Hegemonic stability theory, or HST, argues that the international system is more likely to remain stable when a single state is the dominant world power or hegemon. Thus, the end of hegemony diminishes the stability of the international system. To help link theory and practice, it may be instructive to focus on three main themes. The first is globalization. The second is North-North relations. And the third is North-South relations. So part of the learning objectives, of course, is to analyze contemporary events in global economic environment and explain them in the context of international political economy. An example of contemporary events includes the North-South divide on a need for recent, say for instance, debate over global warming and how to pay for technologies that would enable a just and efficient transfer of energy production capacity to renewables. So many in the global south or developing countries would argue that they did not cause the pollution that occasioned global warming. Yet many countries in the global south, especially in the Pacific Islands, continue to suffer the consequence of it. And I would argue that the global north, i.e. the industrialized north or Western society, for the most part, should bear a bigger share of the financial burden to finance a just energy transition. So that is a major dividing line between the global north and global south. So it's really about economic competition. It's about trying to understand the role of the global south in the international order. This manifests several ways. Again, I mentioned just energy transition. The other also is in international institutions, making sure that global south countries from the global south have equity and have voice in how international institutions are run. Critical among this, for instance, is the United Nations. As I hope you now know, there are two distinct bodies in the United Nations. There is a Security Council, which is a supreme rule-making body of the United Nations. It has 5 permanent members, and any of the 5 permanent members can veto a resolution. And the 5 permanent members are US, UK, France, China, and Russia. Global South would like to have a seat on the table. The Global South obviously are well represented in the General Assembly, but the General Assembly resolutions are non-binding, unlike resolutions from the Security Council, which is binding. Many in the Global South would also argue that because of the geopolitical competition between NATO allied countries and China, the nexus of China and Russia, that quite often the Security Council is gridlocked. Because as you can imagine, China and Russia would always protect their interest and the interest of their allies when it comes to matters that is brought to the attention of the Security Council. And I'm sure China and Russia would argue that France, China, and the United Kingdom and the United Kingdom and the United States will do the same for themselves and their allies. So quite often, this geopolitical competition grinds the Security Council to a halt, where no real action is taken, or transgressions are seen. Nation states and or individuals are seen not to be held to account. So these are just some of the ways that the global North-South divide manifests itself. So let me also quickly remind you that, of course, you have assessments. There are two sets of assignments that were released on Sunday. I hope you now know. Actually, I think I'm going to end the formal part of this lecture here and then take this part offline because this is really more about housekeeping. And then we can revisit any other issues.